Also at 3:30 on Saturday, number 23 Cincinnati on the road at number 19 Arkansas. Last season, the Bearcats became the first non-Power 5 team to reach the college football playoff, while the Razorbacks got their first bowl win since 2015.
There are some things in life that are inevitable, and one of them is Saturday that Cincinnati's going to be here and we're going to be here, and there's going to be a whole bunch of people. And when it gets to that point, and it gets closer, it's a little surreal, like, okay, here it comes, because you have, after the season, you have 6, 7, 8 months, and then starting that week, it's getting ready to happen, so it's exciting. We had 3 deep and a lot of mistakes of getting guys out there, and we didn't have any of those because we only went 1 deep, with some substitutions that we made, but no, it went pretty smooth. We also have new coaches too, so we had to kind of get them. The only thing they really haven't done at this point, new coaches haven't been in the staff meeting on Saturday mornings, before the game, kind of how we're going to play the players, what are we going to take the ball, defer, what's the wind like, all those type things that we go over. But I think it was a little soothing for them too. It was me, my pants fit, so that was a good thing. Well, I think it's a big deal that SEC Nation's here. That's one of 3 top 25 matchups. We're on ESPN. You want that for the program, publicity for the program, and obviously we want to be standing room only and those things, which I think we are. And but it's changed a little bit over the last couple of years, Of course, who knows what it would have been during the COVID year. I think we would have had some really good crowds. We were playing okay. We were playing a little bit better than what we might have in the past. But now the expectations are certainly high, and they're high in our building as well. But I think opening up against a top 25 program, which I think Cincinnati's higher than that even, I think they would do well in the SEC. I know that. It should have helped us in the summer, should have helped us in fall camp, understanding that, we're not playing a team that's way inferior to us. We're playing a team that's every bit as good as we are.
Welcome back to College Football Live. We've got a legit top 25 showdown in Fayetteville on Saturday between Cincinnati and Arkansas. Cincy, as you recall, became the first ever Group of 5 team to make the playoffs last year, while Arkansas went 9-4, the most wins in a decade. However, Cincy will have to replace some key players they lost to the NFL this summer if they are to get back to the playoffs, including cornerback Sauce Gardner, who went 4th overall to the Jets, and starting QB Desmond Ridder, who went to the Falcons in round 3. Overall, the Bearcats lost 5 players drafted in the top 100. Yesterday, Arkansas head coach Sam Pittman spoke about facing these Bearcats.
You don't know exactly what they're going to do, but I think we've got enough defense in that we can attack whatever we see. I think the first couple series are going to be really important to figure out kind of what they're bringing to the party. Some guys bring iced tea and some guys bring liquor, and you just got to figure out what they're bringing.
You got to love that. I'm going to leave it alone, but I will say this, Greg, it is an opportunity for his team opening against a top 25 team like Cincinnati. Should Arkansas pull it off, what does it prove to you about that team?
Well, I think it's as much about Cincinnati as it is about Arkansas. I really like Arkansas this year. I feel like they're going to have a ground and pound approach. And guess what? The last time we saw Cincinnati, they didn't handle that very well. Alabama ran right down their throat time and time and time again in the college football playoff semifinal. What will they do now, having lost those 6 players in the top 109 draft picks? Not all of those on defense, but I can tell you this, man. They were not ready for the physicality that Alabama brought to them in the trenches. Arkansas is built very similarly to Alabama when it comes to trying to establish the run, except the only difference is Arkansas has a 230-pound quarterback in KJ Jefferson that also wants to contribute in the run game. So I think it's a very difficult matchup for Cincinnati. Arkansas doesn't take anyone lightly. They'll definitely be ready to go in this one. And I know Cincinnati's going to try to make sure that people don't think they were a one-year wonder, but it might be a really tall order this weekend against the Hogs, Joey.
I think it's important for Arkansas to get off to a big start in this season just simply because they're in SEC West. If you look later on in September, they have Texas A&M and Alabama back-to-back, which will be tough games to win if they can pull that off. So you need to get off to a really good start, get a top 25 win if you can knock off Cincinnati, a Cincinnati team that will be ready to play. We know Luke Fickell, regardless of who he has back, regardless of what players he has, he'll have that team ready to play because it'll also be a huge feather in the cap of Cincinnati to knock off an SEC opponent. But if I'm looking at Arkansas and what they bring back, they lose a couple of their receivers, but I like KJ Jefferson. And Greg, I know how you like running quarterbacks in this show. KJ Jefferson, I believe, led that team in rushing. It's going to be key for him to get those rushing yards and move the chains for this football team as they try to figure out what they're going to do out wide when they do have to throw the ball. Huge chance for Arkansas to get a big win early to get off to a great start because it gets tough really quick.
I was talking to some friends of mine this morning in Arkansas, Coach, and that program seems like it's on fire, but there's also the reality of a schedule. Not only Cincinnati, they have a road game in the middle of the season at BYU, and of course all the usual suspects in the SEC. What are your thoughts on KJ Jefferson and what Sam Pittman has done in Fayetteville?
Well, right off the bat, he's done a tremendous job, and he's assembled a really good staff, and he's picked up some transfers. He actually has two from Georgia that'll be starting for him, Landers and Brini, who are really good players. You know, Georgia's got 8 players in the SEC that have eligibility that are playing for other teams right now. So Burton, a really good receiver, Cox playing down at Florida along with Kimber. A lot of good players that couldn't play at Georgia or playing for other teams. But I think Sam Pittman really personifies what it means to get that lifetime job. You know, he's been waiting as assistant coach. He really relates to the people of Arkansas. He's just a player's coach anyhow. I mean, he's always been a O-line coach, and he's really gotten his kind of tough guy philosophy across to those kids. And they've won some really close games there at Arkansas, and it's made the difference in having a bowl team and being a team that's not that good. But at the same time, the closer you get up to the top of the mountain and everybody get those expectations, the more the wind blows. You know that, Paul, and certainly starting out with Cincinnati, who really has a good team, lost some good players to the pros, but I think we could see some hammer and tong by Arkansas in this game. I think they can line up and get after them with their running game, and it'll be a tough task for Cincinnati to go in there and win at Razorback Stadium.
What team do you think kind of has the most to show you, the most to prove in this week 1 in the SEC?
There are lots of good matchups, but when I look at Arkansas and I think about how last year we didn't know what to expect from them. They go out, they go 9-4. They have big signature wins against Texas. They beat Texas A&M. KJ Jefferson leads the team in rushing. I mean, there's a lot of excitement around this football team. Well, now people know you have a great rushing attack. Now people know your quarterback is efficient. He can throw the ball. He can run with the ball. He's tough to tackle. He's out there like Cam Newton. Sam Pittman has built a team that is tough. Defensively with Barry Odom, they swarm to the football. They got Catalan back. I mean, there's a lot of excitement in Arkansas. And so looking at week 1, they're playing a Cincinnati team that was in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
A team that is very well coached, that is going to come in knowing that they can play at this level. They're not going to be scared. This is going to be a tough matchup for Arkansas. I think they have the most to prove because of the expectations in Arkansas, but also who they're going to play this week.
Cincinnati against Arkansas. They spent the whole camp trying to figure out who's going to replace Desmond Ridder at quarterback. It's going to be Ben Bryant or Even Prater. I tell you what, they don't have Sauce Gardner anymore either. They got to go up against that man right there, A.J. Jefferson, who can run, throw. He's not going to have Traylon Burks, but keep an eye out for a guy named Jaden Hazelwood.
But how about Cincinnati, the darling of college football a year ago? another big-time opponent early.
Arkansas,
Yes, like last year, it was the Notre Dame game that catapulted them to be able to be in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're not in it. 9 guys to the draft.
Yeah.
The only teams better were Georgia and Bama.
Right.
Like, can Luke Fickell and Cincinnati be that mainstay? And
according to our excellent researcher, Marissa, Luke has picked a starting quarterback. He just hasn't announced it yet.
Yeah, so
I think it might be Ben. I'm thinking it might be Ben Bryant.
It is. Strategic advantage.
Yeah.
Strategic advantage always for
exactly.
coaches.
I think the Arkansas game is incredible as far as the intensity of the matchup. And Cincinnati, I think most fans that don't know Cincinnati think that was cute, one and done, they're out.
Right.
And I think that fuels their fire. And I think you have Arkansas trying to throw their hat in the ring and say, last year was just the beginning of what Sam Pittman's era is going to be. So those two collide with same kind of personalities head to head. Be a fun one.
Arkansas will blast them.
Yeah.
You didn't like Cincinnati last year.
Arkansas
I didn't like him last year.
Didn't
like him this year.
You like it last this year.
Did you not have a good time at Cincinnati?
He didn't like Skyline.
Well, I don't
like that either, but the crowd was awesome. Skyline.
That was probably a top 3 or 4 crowd.
Yeah.
But if you like demolition derbies, that's your game. That's your game. Cincinnati and Arkansas. A lot of collisions. Exactly.
And we are live in Arkansas, and what a day it is, and we'll show you a little bit more about that in a minute as we begin our Friday coverage of the college football season 2022, and there's a lot happening. Not only have we seen football last night, we'll see it tonight and tomorrow, but there's also some news breaking on the CFP, and we will have all of that for you in just a moment. So we say hello to you. They have great fans in Arkansas, and I think that's pretty evident. We are in the middle of a monsoon, and maybe monsoon razorback for the Cincinnati Bearcats tomorrow. But right now, we begin our weekend here as the rain is coming down heavily. Let's bring it here to Fayetteville, where Cincinnati shows up tomorrow afternoon. I think they've actually already shown up.
I know the fans are. They're on the flight.
Yeah, we had a few.
Yeah.
They have a really good program. Their fans, pretty weak. I mean, they try to trash talk in the most vanilla way possible. Not impressed. Jordan, I think you just saw the quarterback. I'm not sure.
Yes,
I heard you were going.
Play some Jenga with him.
So
see you tomorrow.
Let's start with KJ and take it from there.
Look, he's so dangerous because he's so physical in the run game, right? I mean, at his core, Arkansas, their identity is running the football.
Yep.
And they'll keep doing that, right? They lose Traylon Smith, but got Dominique Johnson back as well as Raheem Sanders. So they're great there. What impressed me most last year is a big physical guy that takes that many hits. He was so accurate downfield. Yep. So, again, the big question mark for me there is how do you replace Traylon Burks, right? That's a huge one. Heard a lot of good things about Jaden Hazelwood coming from Oklahoma. Matt Landers, this guy that's been around a ton. We've heard a ton about him. He might have an opportunity to do something this year. So this is going to be a really, really good football team. I was just thinking about it over there. I've already said many times that I think they're the third best in the SEC. I think right now, if they were playing Georgia week 1, I think we have a very, very interesting conversation. Now, what?
You've been hanging around this guy too long.
Georgia's replacing their entire defense, going up against an offense that is physical, that'll punch you in the mouth, and that has everybody back. I'm saying, look, I'm not saying those teams are going to be equal at the end of the year. They may be, right? And I think Georgia's a better football team. I'm saying if they play tomorrow, that's an interesting conversation for what Arkansas has coming back and what Georgia lost last year. But I think highly of this football team. There we go.
He's playing it up for the crowd like you do, Paul. He's playing it up for the crowd.
Jordan for governor.
Yeah, he's playing it up for the crowd over here.
There we go.
He's playing it up for the crowd. I don't think you can out physical Georgia. I think that would be not the best matchup, but who's the kid? That's not happening right now.
You got 4 offensive linemen back. Who's Georgia got coming back? Jalen Carter.
Georgia.
Nolan Smith.
They're just so big. They don't
got Jordan Davis anymore?
I'm not going to answer hypotheticals.
Okay.
All right? We're not going to answer hypotheticals.
Well, then you can't be at this network.
Then everything we talk about is hypothetical.
I do think tomorrow I'm looking forward to the defense. I want to see what kind of step does Arkansas – do they continue to build off what Barry Odom's done in the last few years here? Getting this defense, they play like their hair is on fire. They haven't always had the best athletes, haven't always had the best players, but they know where to be at all times, and they make you have to beat them, and they take advantage of you when you make mistakes. And so if they can be better versus the run game on first and second down, it's going to put them in better position to be successful defensively as a whole. And so I want to see how they continue to build upon it. They got some new faces that we're going to have to see step up. Not saying that they haven't played it all, but having the same coaching staff, having everybody that's been here the last couple of years, seeing how it's done the right way, that now by the time you step in, you should be just right in line, and it should not be much of a drop-off. So I just want to see how this defense continues to play this year. Are they better against the run, and do they still fly around at high pace?
Anyway, we are back. Sometimes you just keep, when you get a friendly coach, you just want to talk. We're at the University of Arkansas, in case you were wondering. And Sam Pittman joins us. And it's been raining all day, Coach. I know that's kind of normal weather out here, but this is duck hunting country. But you got some great fans, and they're excited that you're about to kick things off against Cincinnati. How do you feel?
Well, I feel good. I mean, we back healthy. You know, we were beat up a little bit there a couple of weeks ago and got all our guys back, so we're back healthy. And I think we've got a good team. We'll see what that ends up being on the wins and losses, but I like our team.
When the first game, we were here last year for the second game, and you knew a little bit, and you had Texas coming in. Not that tomorrow is any Cincinnati only was in the playoffs last year. I mean, every year is nerve-wracking, every game's nerve-wracking, but is the first game against a big-time opponent even more unsettling?
It really is. You know, 2 years ago we opened up with Georgia, you know, and I was very, very, very nervous. Of course, it was my first game as well, but I know a lot more about our team, you know, so I feel a little more comfortable about that. But opening up with Cincinnati is hard. There's some good things about it because I think you practice a little bit better in fall camp because you know you've got a top 20, top 25 program in town.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say. Cincinnati played Alabama last year in the national semifinals. Let me ask you about that, because it was just announced that there will be a 12-team playoff sometime in the future.
Yeah.
24, 25, 26. Knowing this group, it probably won't be soon, or rather.
That's right.
But as a coach of a program that's trying to ascend and get in that mix, is that good news?
Certainly it is. You know, I'm all for it. You know, I get a little bit of hesitation in the SEC because it's worked for us. You know, we've been one national championship in the way that it is now. We got 2 in last year. But I was also at Georgia when I thought we, you know, had a top 5, 6 team in the country where it would have been nice to go into the playoffs. But I'm all for it. I think it'll be really good for the fans as well.
Yeah, I guess in today's current environment, like in the NFL, you don't have to be at the top. You can be close, and you have a chance. And I would suppose, not that anyone likes to think about anything other than competing for a championship, but it changes the dynamics, does it not?
I think it'll help a lot of people in recruiting as well, like what I think you're maybe alluding to a little bit. And you know, again, I think it's good for the fans. I think they can use it with the major bowls and things of that nature. So I'm excited about it.
And I guess in the SEC, it does give you a little bit of room for error, which you have none right now. You play Alabama every year. You have the usual suspects. You lose a game, and you better hope.
Well, it is that way
like
now.
At Georgia.
It is. Yeah, we lost South Carolina that year, early in the year, and then went on a run, lost in the championship, and we were out. I think it gives hope to Arkansas and anywhere somebody is in that top 20 that, you know, possibly can get in the playoffs and make a run, and who knows what will happen in a one-game series.
I know I hear probably more of it than you because I'm exposed to it while you're at practice doing real work. But the wild speculation of the offseason, and you talk to your great fans here, and it's everywhere. Did that? I mean, I know you can't help. You can't stay away from it. You're speaking to groups occasionally before the season. You have a show. You talk to folks. But does it get maddening because the expectations are always probably a little out of reality?
Well, they're excited. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
We haven't really gone the other way yet. So I'd be interested to see if that ever happened. What would
You don't want to do that.
I don't. I don't at all. But you know it, Paul. Once you get to 9 and you play a 12-game season, there's only 10, 11. There's only 3 numbers, left. And if you're at 6, you go to 8. Everybody's pretty happy because you improved, but you still have 4 numbers left. It's harder once you get to 9 to go to 10, 11, 12 because that just means you have to beat more powerful teams in the country. We have won 4 games against top 25 opponents the last 2 years, but to get to 10 and 11, you're going to have to win maybe 4 of those a year.
Your boss will be by later, and I realize he doesn't have a lot to do with this, but Arkansas always, not only do you always end up with the most difficult non-conference schedule, I mean, who else starts Cincinnati and then a major conference game next week? I mean, whatever happened to Mercer or Alon?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering where they are. I mean, I'm sure they've got good programs too.
I'm sure.
But Paul, all 12 of our opponents were invited to postseason last year. I mean, all 12 of them. And BYU has 20
and then there's
starters
Liberty.
And Liberty's really good. They've won 3 bowls in a row.
That's right.
I mean, they're really good team. So they're all really good. It makes it good for the fans because they're going to come in and see a quality opponent, a really good opponent, a really good game, and things of that nature. But I'd like to. We don't need to play 2 non-conference teams in the top 25 every year, or somebody else will be sitting here talking to.
Yeah,
I don't want to do that.
I don't know who came up with a BYU game in the middle of the year, but if it's your current boss, I won't say anything. But if it's the guy that was before him,
no, that was before.
Somebody, I don't want to be too violent here, but somebody at least knocked the guy in the head once or twice because that's ridiculous.
What we've learned is, and last year was the same way, Paul. What we've learned is you just don't look at the schedule as a whole. Just look at the next week, and you can kind of handle it that way.
But you catch a real break though after Cincinnati, South Carolina. You have Missouri State, and then you get the easy part of the schedule: Texas A&M and Alabama.
Yeah, Texas A&M, Alabama, at Mississippi State, and then go to BYU. It's a beast, but we're Arkansas. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I guess I could be cynical and say I hope you're enjoying your life right now.
I am enjoying it actually a lot. It's been the greatest 3 years of my life. It really has.
I was talking to a coach, a former coach, the other day, and we were somehow you came up and. I'm sure you hear it, but there is such goodwill, I think, for a lot of people in the profession, especially those who have moved on and retired, to see what you've done, because it normally doesn't go this way.
Well,
I mean, you had a great life, but you weren't a head coach at Arkansas.
Yeah, and I was fine with that at the time. I had my hands full being the O-line coach at Georgia, but once I got the opportunity, I felt like I could hire enough good people around me that we could have success, and certainly with Barry and Kendall and Scott Fountain and Jamil Walker and those guys, we certainly have a really, really good staff, and that's what gives us a chance. And now we're recruiting a little bit better. We have the facilities, we have the fans, it's just, and we're getting better. So we'll see where that goes.
Well, I know you got things to do. You do have a game in 24 hours. Best of Jamie, I've gotten in trouble. I'm not really supposed to be neutral. I can be whatever I want. But I said on radio the other day that Jamie's my favorite spouse in the SEC, and I mean that because when I saw you two together for the first time at Destin, and I just said, you know what, maybe because you're not 30 like some of these coaches, I could relate to you a little bit better being an elder statesman, but you guys are really cool.
I appreciate that. She's a beautiful woman, beautiful spirit. I mean, and she was really happy you said that about her.
Well, I don't tell her I don't have that many friends. So I'm just trying to pick up 1 or 2 in Northwest Arkansas.
That's awesome.
Coach, really great to see you.
Oh, man, good to see you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Sam Pittman, the head coach of the University of Arkansas. Rod, let's talk about this game tomorrow because we've lost a couple of valuable minutes to get your insight. I know you've been digging deep. This is a huge game.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating. And, neither coach is downplaying how big a game it is. I talked to, Sam Pittman this morning about it, and he said, look, it's really important for momentum's sake for what they did last season and starting this season. And Luke Fickell made it very clear. His team still feels the sting of last season's loss to Alabama, where, Alabama was really the physically superior team. And that's a tough pill for Cincinnati to swallow. So both coaches know what this game means.
Rod, we watched the draft, so we know where some of those players that did so well for Cincinnati, that went to Notre Dame, that had such an amazing winning streak other than losing to Georgia and Alabama over a 2-year period. But what do they have that should make not only Arkansas fans concerned, but SEC fans who naturally think this league beats everyone?
Well, 9 players drafted, 6 players on the defensive side. And look, the thing that they don't have, were 2 NFL cornerbacks, which allowed them to play man coverage on the back end and commit the other guys to stopping the run, and their defense was really good. I don't think there's any way that they're going to have 2 guys on the corner like they had last season. Having said that, they have a really good defensive line. They've got a lot of speed, a lot of quickness, a couple of big guys up there. Their linebacking crew, they'll play 5 or 6 guys that are really active. So I think if you're looking for what's the strength of this Cincinnati team right now, it's their defense and it's the front 7. And on the other side, we're waiting to see what they do at quarterback. Evan Prater is the big-time recruit that's been waiting in the wings. Ben Bryant, he waited for 3 years, transferred out to Eastern Michigan, came back, and one of them will run out on the field as a starter. I think we'll see both of them probably in the game. There are a lot of unknowns about the Cincinnati offense, but in my view, not as much about the defense. I think we'll see an active Cincinnati defense, probably a little bit more aggressive than maybe we've seen in the past, a little bit more rolling the dice. They haven't been a real blitz team in the past. Might be a little bit more of that tomorrow. They got to find a way to stop the run after what Alabama did to them in that playoff game.
And Rod, you heard from Coach earlier, and we just got through talking to him. He seems to really like his team, but he didn't feel overly relaxed. I mean, this is he's got a really tough opening stretch here where things could go wrong, especially with A&M and Alabama around the corner.
I think he likes his team a lot. I think he's also being respectful of the schedule that he has. But look, I had an Arkansas game 2 years ago in his first season. This team is vastly different from that team. This is a bigger, stronger, faster team with a veteran quarterback. He has every reason to like this team. Problem is he's playing a team opening week that was in the playoff, last season, and then he's got a schedule of 12 teams that were postseason teams last season. So he's right to have concern about the schedule, but he has every reason to believe he's got a team that will surprise a lot of people that's well built on both sides of the ball. So some people see Arkansas as a trendy pick, in the SEC as maybe a second-place team. But they're as big and as talented as anybody except, Georgia and Alabama. So we'll see what happens. But this is his best team. I don't think there's any question about it.
How about this? The CFP expansion. We have a statement from the commissioner of the SEC, the man who nearly had made this happen a year ago. Greg Sankey saying this is an exciting day for the future of college football. As originally proposed, the 12-team playoff creates more access for teams and conferences across the country to compete in college football's championship event. And a lot of people, as he finishes the statement, there is work to be done to make this format a reality, but I'm pleased that we are all moving in the same direction with a common sense. And there's a lot of people wondering right now about the lost year, essentially, that could have been used had everybody been on the same page. I know where you are. Hunter Yurichik joining us, the athletic director here. Let's get, first of all, before we talk about this important weekend, your reaction to this news finally. We don't know when yet, but it's happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's best for college football to provide more access for teams. And, right now it's 4, soon to be 12. I'm sure we'll have that debate over 12 and 13 when all this begins, just like we have over 4, 5, and 6, but it's definitively what's best for college football.
And I realize we don't know. There's a lot of moving parts, and you understand. It's easy for me to sit here and say, well, go ahead and do it. It takes a lot of things that need to be done, but where do you think they are? How did they decide 24, 25, or 26?
That I'm not real sure, but obviously you've got to figure out, the bowl component and how the bowl games fit and the current bowl structure fits into that. Are there going to be on-campus games as you open up that? When are those on-campus games going to take place in relation to exams that happen in mid-December on most college campuses? And so I think those are the details that still have to be worked out. But the first is, how does this fit into the context of the bowl season?
Yeah, and I think. I think we can objectively say that the 4-team model was better than 2, but it's been not that the SEC commissioner is probably concerned about this, although he was at the vanguard of expanding it, but it has primarily been most of the same schools every year.
It has, and I think that this will provide, those that want to have value throughout their entire season, because you have an opportunity to get access to this game and you're not eliminated 2 or 3 weeks into the season.
Your current schedule, done by others, is interesting because this is the kind of schedule that I think we'll see more of, where you play a Cincinnati, a Final Four team, you go to BYU. But what do you think long-term adding 12 to the playoff will mean for the day-to-day scheduling of college athletic directors?
Well, from a Southeastern Conference perspective, we've had a group that's run over 5,000 different models, whether the 8-game schedule is better than a 9-game schedule for access to the CFP, whether that's 4 teams, 8 teams, 12 teams, and we'll decide as a conference, is that better to have 8 games or 9 games? And then if you have 9, do you want to add still that Power 5 component like we have now with 8 games? And I think some schools will see that as a benefit and some will see that as a detriment.
It's not easy. I don't want to diminish whether between 4 and 12, but there is more room for error. As an athletic director, this school has always played very strong opposition. How do you conclude on how to do that, assuming it's 9 games in a couple of years?
Sure. Well, I think there'll be a learning process as this 12-team playoff starts. We're going to be learning, what's that metric look like that gets you into the 12-team playoff. Now, we're pretty locked in on what the 4 looks like, but what is that formula, that scheduling formula that gets you into that mix for being in the top 12?
And Hunter, you always hear scheduling is very long term. You just can't decide to play somebody next year. So, how deep into the future are your schedules firm, and does this affect anything?
It absolutely does. We've got games here at the University of Arkansas scheduled out as far into the early 2030s, and so we're almost looking 10 years out from now that we have games scheduled. And so as we'll have to evaluate that as Texas and Oklahoma come into the conference in the next few years, and do we move to an 8 and 9 game schedule, and what does that schedule look like moving forward?
As you sit there in these meetings, every school has a different perspective, but as the argument goes on between 8 and 9, I'm assuming, I'll let you tell me because I've never been in one of those meetings, that 8 gives you more opportunity for non-conference games, and it also precludes that with 9, not everyone, half the league has another loss.
Sure, but you also have another metric that it could be another win for you in your school, depending on how that plays out against a really good SEC opponent. And so you can look at that. Yes, every school is going to have another loss, but there's 9 schools that are going to have another win, for sure.
Too often those 9 schools are probably in pretty good shape anyway.
Yeah, already, for sure.
Let's talk about your coaches. I was just commenting to you off the air, having talked to Coach Pittman, and obviously Muss, and everyone knows about the baseball program here. You could argue that nobody has better coaches in the important sports, and in the not less revenue sports.
Sure.
You've got an amazing lineup here.
Yeah, of course I'm going to argue across the board. Our 15 coaches are the best in the country. We have 15 head coaches leading 19 sports. We finished 7th in the Learfield Directors Cup standings. We had 18 of 19 teams advance to postseason, 9 teams that were in the top 10 nationally, 14 in the top 25. That's a testament to our head coaches and their leadership of our programs and the student athletes that they're bringing into the program. And so I think, from top to bottom, we have the best collection of coaches in the country. And if you could let them know I said that, by the way, that would be awesome.
No, and by the way, it's one thing to say that. You came well prepared to answer that, and not that you had to prepare. You know all this stuff. Sure. This is what you do, and you have been rewarded and honored as the top athletic director in your field as well. I remember talking to you a couple of months ago or a year ago. I can't remember whenever it was at that event. So I know you do what you have to do, but You've been other places. You've been very successful places. How does this place differentiate, though? Because there is does that help when everyone else is doing so well?
I think it does, absolutely. I think the success of that one program has, or multiple programs are having, kind of fuels the fire of those other programs. Not only the coaches, but the assistant coaches, the support staff, and of course that are student athletes. And they see that success is possible here at the University of Arkansas. I mean, we have the 10th largest budget in the Southeastern Conference, but we're having as much success as anybody that's got much larger budgets than us. And so I think our student athletes, when they see other teams having success, they truly believe that they can also have success as student athletes and teams here.
When you meet people around the country, I'm sure they ask you a lot of questions, but I would think one of them is, what is the secret sauce? And there is none, by the way, but other than a lot of work and good decision. But you've made so many interesting coaching decisions that, quite frankly, and the Pittman one has been hashed out and will forever be hashed out as one of the most surprising and most successful ever. What goes into making those decisions?
Well, first and foremost, my philosophy's changed over my 12 years as a director of athletics, is that obviously you want a coach that knows the game and knows how to coach, but I'm looking for really good people that are going to be great leaders of young men and women that I'm going to enjoy working alongside of. And Sam Pittman and I have a great professional relationship, but we also have a great personal relationship, and that allows us to have some really tough conversations around the office, but also have a friendship where we can go out and have dinner with our wives and have a really good time. And I feel like I've got a similar relationship with all of our head coaches, and that's why I think this really works, and we work well together, and our coaches work well together.
Athletic directors miss, and they're good people making choices that in the moment seem right, but some of it's competition, but we see it every day. There are coaches that just don't work out. As you have done this and done it at the highest level, why do the mistakes happen?
Well, I think sometimes you get in a rush, and and hiring Sam Pittman, letting Chad Morris go with a few weeks left in the season, had a little bit longer runway to evaluate coaches and make a decision on what was best for the University of Arkansas program, and really outline what we needed as that next leader of our football program. We were behind in recruiting. Sam Pittman's a great recruiter. We were behind on both the interior line, offensive, defensive line. Obviously, nobody knows an offensive line better than Sam Pittman, and if you know an offensive line, you're coaching against a defensive line. And somebody that wanted to be here at the University of Arkansas and loved this state and loved this place, and that's what Sam Pittman was.
It seems to step back from what you did with him, that too often, you said things are rushed. There are people that control things. There are agents, there's media, there's all kinds of leaks, and I know you not too many people had Sam Pittman on the list, so you probably didn't have to deal with that. But I'm sure you watched this in real time. We watched it last year at a couple of very high-profile places. How do you be true to yourself where you make the decision? Because too often, the athletic director, rightly or wrongly, is not the only one part of the process.
Sure, and that's where you, as an athletic director, have to do a great job, what I call managing up. You have to have a great relationship with your chancellor, your president. You have to have great relationships with your board of trustee members that may have an influence in that decision, and they have to trust you that you're going to make the best decision for your university and your institution, and that comes from building relationships with those people. And we have an interim chancellor now in Charles Robinson that's very supportive, but our former chancellor, Joe Steinmetz, was incredibly supportive of me during the coaching search for Sam Pittman and Eric Musselman and Jordan Weber, and I can't thank him enough for kind of trusting me to run that process the way I thought the process should be run as an athletic director.
Obviously, things are going great here. It's not like you're thinking, I need to start compiling a list of coaches, but you had in Eric Musselman a very much in demand coach. You have to be prepared. Now, I don't think that's an issue any longer because I believe the extension is pretty locked down, but is it something you're always thinking about as an athletic director? You meet people, you know the industry. It's not like you wake up one day and call somebody and say, I don't know what to do. Is that an ongoing process?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're constantly kind of evaluating as you're watching the games on TV throughout the course of the season and seeing, how coaches work the sidelines in a football game or a basketball game. Coaches, you interact at various meetings that we have nationally and as a conference, and just continue to develop develop those relationships not only with coaches but people that you trust that can help recommend the right person for your institution.
In Coach Pittman's case, and this is something you've discussed in the past, but it certainly was a possibility. Everyone, at least people like me, knew that this was heading down a road where a very difficult, tough decision would be made. How far out did you start thinking Sam Pittman could be somebody I would like to talk to?
I think that was early on in the process when Chad Morris was let go. There were multiple people that Sam had worked with during his first stop at the University of Arkansas, former student athletes, people in our department that had worked with him that brought his name forward, people across our state that had a relationship with him and still had a relationship with him.
Did you ever have to fight it off, though, where there are people and the good boosters, they mean well, but they also hear things and they say, hey, this guy is somebody special. Don't you think we ought to go to him? Pittman's a nice guy, great reputation, but how do you say, listen, I feel good about this person?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're always, sometimes as an athletic director, you look at, like, I've got to win the press conference, right?
Sure.
And you want to win that 24-hour period, but that 24-hour period doesn't necessarily win you any football games or basketball games in the future. And so you've got to take a step back and say, okay, who can help us truly develop and build a program that can be successful here at the University of Arkansas?
Maybe this is being cynical, but it seems like sometimes people in your position are more interested in what are people going to say? How are they going to react? You've made a lot of hires. You know that fame is fleeting. But deep down, do you keep up with all that noise, and you have to see it, you have to hear it. People around you are telling you, but deep down you have to be able to say, okay, listen, I was hired to do this job. I wasn't hired to follow the crowd.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm on social media as far as Twitter, where I push information out, but rarely do I read the comments. I don't receive a local newspaper. I don't listen to local radio. Sometimes I don't listen to local sportscasts, and so I hope that doesn't offend any of my members in local media. But I think that helps kind of put me in a little bit of a bubble, especially when you're doing a coaching search like that, where you just I keep the circle of people. I only had 3 people involved in the search for Sam Pittman and for Coach Musselman, and that kind of keeps your circle pretty tight and keeps information from getting out and also keeps information from getting in when you're trying to make a very challenging decision. I've hired now a 23-year-old gymnastics coach to lead a gymnastics program in the SEC that had never been a head coach, had only been a volunteer coach, to hiring an offensive line coach, to hiring an NBA coach for the most of his career. And you just again, I think you got to hire the best people that are the best fit for your institution in your department. And for the state of Arkansas, the state, Coach Pittman's got a great saying on his wall. It's like, you're not committing to the University of Arkansas, you're committing to the state of Arkansas. There's not another Power 5 team in this state. There's no major professional sports franchises. And that's truly, when you're here at the University of Arkansas, it's about the entire state of Arkansas, not just the university here.
Finally, with Hunter Yurachek, I realize you have trusted people around you. Maybe there's a friend, maybe it's a family member. But at some point, do you run it by somebody who you know you can trust? You're not concerned this person is going to leak. And so, what do you think? You're not in this every day like I am.
Yeah, absolutely. That whether that's colleagues around the country that I trust, that I've worked with before, or some business leaders, especially in this community, where some very strong business leaders that are in leadership positions that have hired people, running some things by them for sure.
Well, we've had a professorial lecture here by one of the top athletic directors in the country. I am fascinated by this subject because I don't know what happened, but because Hunter, it's just, we watch it in real time. We'll do it again in a couple of months, and not here. But
absolutely not.
It moves so fast, and the decisions, some work out great, and unfortunately, too many don't.
You're exactly right. So, well, Paul, thank you for your time. Thanks for being here. Are you going to throw that Cincinnati helmet tomorrow?
That's the rumor.
Okay.
We'll see. I may have to get a loan because, as I joked with you off the air, we got stuck with a $365 bill by the University of Texas. You think the University of Texas, as rich as they are, could have just waived
Here's what I'll tell you. You throw that helmet, the Cincinnati helmet tomorrow, and they send you a bill, I'll pay for it. How about that?
We're done. Because that's a lot of money for a poor guy like me. Hey, Hunter Yurachek, thank you.
What team do you think kind of has the most to show you, the most to prove in this week 1 in the SEC?
There are lots of good matchups, but when I look at Arkansas, And I think about how last year we didn't know what to expect from them. They go out, they go 9-4. They have big signature wins against Texas. They beat Texas A&M. KJ Jefferson leads the team in rushing. I mean, there's a lot of excitement around this football team. Well, now people know you have a great rushing attack. Now people know your quarterback is efficient. He can throw the ball. He can run with the ball. He's tough to tackle. He's out there like Cam Newton. Sam Pittman has built a team that is tough. Defensively with Barry Odom, they swarm to the football. They got Catalan back. I mean, there's a lot of excitement in Arkansas. And so looking at week one, they're playing a Cincinnati team that was in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
A team that is very well coached, that is going to come in knowing that they can play at this level. They're not going to be scared. This is going to be a tough matchup for Arkansas. I think they have the most to prove because of the expectations in Arkansas, but also who they're going to play this week.
SEC Nation is in town. We're right in the middle of college football, and finally it begins. Number 23 Cincinnati taking on number 19 Arkansas, getting the field ready for the debut of these Hogs this year against a team that was in the college football playoff last year. And SEC Nation has all kinds of fun planned for you, but first we go to Marty Smith with Sam Pittman.
Thank you, Laura. That's right here in Coach Pittman's office. I appreciate your hospitality. It's beautiful in here. What are you most optimistic about with this team as you prepare to take on Cincinnati, and what concerns you the most?
Well, our leadership. You know, we've got really good leadership. We've got an entire offensive line basically coming back, running backs, our quarterback. You know, that our strength is in our secondary. Concerning, how's our new wideouts going to do? How's our new D-line? You know, we replaced an entire D-line, basically an entire wide receiver group. Those are things, I feel good about them, but we got to wait and see.
You mentioned your quarterback, KJ Jefferson. He's getting a lot of praise here in the preseason. How would you define or describe his evolution from last year to this?
Well, I think he went from, even in his own mind, what can I do on the football field? How are they going to use me? You know, there's a lot to be said with a guy understanding and knowing instead of thinking about, well, what are they going to do with me? He knows exactly who he is. We know who he is now. We didn't even know he could run the ball that well, honestly, until the Rice game last year, and he took off on an option play, you know. So we know him a little bit more. He's gotten better with his intermediate throws, and I think he is the leader of the team. He's one of our 4 captains, but he's the guy on the football team.
Bumper pullback for his 32nd year here at the University of Arkansas. Jalen Catalan now back from injury, a generational type of player.
Yeah.
And I've been watching tape. Drew Sanders just is the tape.
Yeah.
How excited are you about this defensive unit, and what should we expect from them?
Well, hopefully we can play a little bit more multiple this year. You know, we've been wanting to do that. We just didn't feel like we had enough D linemen or the right corners to do that. Hopefully we can do that a little bit more. Barry's always been that way in his defenses. I hated preparing for him whenever I was coaching O-line against him. I hope that's what we see. And then I want the state to see that we're going to run and hit and be physical.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, man.
Always great spending time with you, brother.
All right, go Hogs.
Laura?
Love it, Marty. Thanks so much. Jordan Rogers, Tim Tebow, Roman Harper. I'm Laura. We're back for another season together.
Come on.
I know, we're so excited. It's a little rainy right now. Did you just, of course,
Got him.
mid-season form.
I was going to do it.
Just like you planned it. Wouldn't matter. Listen, the commitment from you guys is incredible.
Yes.
And we'll see you tomorrow for SEC Nation, because it is not supposed to rain then, which is great news for both of these teams playing in this game. And Jordan, I'll start with you, because you heard Sam Pittman talking about the youth of this team, but they are talented. The schedule is insane per usual. It seems like that's the case with Arkansas every year. What are your expectations?
Yeah, look, I think they have leadership where they need it. I think there is definitely youth, but if you look at their identity, this is a team that beats you up on the offensive side of the football. All those guys are back, 4 offensive linemen back, all their rushing production, obviously KJ on the edges, the receivers with no more Traylon Burks. Yeah, there's some inexperience. They're not youth, though.
No.
So there's a ton of leadership, and I think there's still a ton where they need it because of their identity.
Well, I think what you have to mention is at the most important positions, there's leadership that is coming back. And that is something that everybody else can galvanize and rally around. KJ Jefferson coming back, this running game being intact. And then on the defensive side, Bumper Pool being someone that everybody says plays angry. And also the transfer from Alabama and Drew Sanders, I think think he is going to be a baller this year.
And Roman's guy.
That is Jalen Catalon.
He's back, baby.
We can't mention his name enough out.
I don't know how you even got through like the whole offseason without talking
or
about
the
him.
second half of last season. I mean, it was a dark place.
Right now, is he your favorite player?
He is my favorite defensive player in all
Boom,
the
write it down.
Defensive.
Wait, he's your favorite player over Will Anderson?
I said favorite. I didn't say the best. He is my favorite. You guys know I love watching secondary players. He flies around. He plays at a different speed. I just talked to a class with Ryan McGee, and the first thing I mentioned was Jalen Catalon coming back. One person that we didn't give enough credit to, or people that we didn't, was the fact that this whole staff is still together.
Good point.
Lets me know that it doesn't matter that they've gotten all the reps and they've shown everybody what positive film looks like, what bad film looks like in the last 2 years that everybody's been together, that the first time you come out there won't be the first time you've seen it. And everybody knows offenses build upon what other offenses had success on. So you've already seen a lot of the things that you're going to see. You just have to learn how to defend them.
Let's throw the schedule up there just so we can put eyes on it, because it is. I mean, it makes you kind of shake your head and say, what's going on, right? A gauntlet once again for Arkansas. How do, though, these Razorbacks, Jordan, in a great opportunity week one, make a statement and beat Cincinnati?
Yeah, I think it's not the Cincinnati that was a playoff team last year. I think we all are well aware of that, but it is still a really good opponent, a well-coached football team. To me, that second week is really intriguing. Yeah. South Carolina, I think, is on the up and up. They're going to be a completely different team. That's going to be a really good test for them before they get into a Texas A&M week 4.
Yeah, A&M, Alabama, Mississippi State, at BYU,
I mean, it's
at Auburn,
at BYU.
But even
you got to travel all the way there. That's a physical
games
team.
Aren't even easy this year. The Cincinnati, the BYU's, the Liberties. Like, there's not a lot on that schedule where you could say, hey, this is an opportunity where we don't have to give KJ a lot of carries. And what bothers me about this schedule is you were talking about a quarterback that has to be his best playing physical. Right? That's what he does. He can throw it better, but he's an inside the tackles runner, right? So with that schedule, that gauntlet, that's something that makes me very, very worried if I'm an Arkansas fan of, can he sustain that success getting hit that much?
The best thing that they have going for them is that their hardest games are at home.
Yeah, good
point. And the teams that are on the road, they can beat them. They can beat Auburn. They can beat BYU. I know they're good, but they can beat them. They can also beat Mississippi State on the road.
Wow.
So your hardest games are at home. That gives you a good chance.
It would be quite the impressive situation if they're able to follow up what they did last season under Sam Pittman with another year of a bunch of wins. Yes. We'll see what this Arkansas team is capable of, and we finally get to see it in person as college football is almost back.
Yes, you guys are going to have some people you want to show you something. CD Start, what are you looking for on Saturday?
I'm looking forward to watching the Arkansas Razorbacks. I've talked about those guys before. Arkansas now.
One finger swipe.
I went 2 fingers. That's cool. Hey, but look at this. Arkansas, a lot of expectations. Some people think they could be the 3rd best team in the conference this year. I need to know how you replace the production and the leadership of these 2 guys, Traylon Burks, and you look at what Grant Morgan. Those 2 guys not only were the big-time producers on the field, they were leaders in the locker room. How does KJ Jefferson feel without his safety blanket out there? How many times did we see, Dari, one-on-one plays being made by Traylon Burks in those jump ball situations? So I've got to see somebody step up. Show me who replaces these 2 guys, Takia.
Jaden Hazelwood, live up to your expectations when you left the state of Georgia
guy?
for Oklahoma. That's right.
Hey, let's go. Hey, let's go.
Arkansas, the Cincinnati Bearcats are in town. Son, we're ready to go.
Football is back. Marty McGee back on campus in the Southeastern Conference. Fayetteville, Arkansas is off the hook.
Hallelujah.
I love this state.
Hallelujah.
I love these fans.
Praise
it's
be.
authentic. It's passionate. It's all spirit. And we get to,
we call them? Let's talk ball. How about it? The matchup this afternoon right here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Cincinnati and Arkansas. And I believe you spent a little time chatting, didn't you, with the Bearcat coaching staff?
I did. I chatted with Luke Fickell this week, and we made the decision that when we were going to talk ball this year, we're going to call the coaches ourselves and learn a little something. All right, here's the 3 things I know about today's game Oh, pardon me, McGee, you're first. You have the floor.
All right, well, I chatted with the man who's going to join us in just a little bit. Chatted with Sam Pittman and the whole staff right here at Arkansas. And as you said, each week we're going to do this. We're going to give you the points. They're going to say, all right, all we're going to do is we're going to get on the phone, ask what are the keys to winning this football game. And look, this is new for our show. I even have cards. I even have notes. All right, here's what I know. Receiving good news. As we know, Arkansas last year, they obviously KJ Jefferson's a man. We agree with that. KJ Jefferson is the man. Now, who's he going to throw the football to? And this year, the good news for Arkansas is there's a lot of transfers coming in. But remember the name Trey Knox. It's a tight end. You started to see him get worked into the offense last year. That's exactly what's going to happen this year because KJ Jefferson is going to need those targets. The second part is be cautious of yellows. We're NASCAR guys, right? You don't want to have those yellow flags. A year ago in Arkansas's opener, they had 13 penalties in their opener against Rice. They were number 10 in the nation in penalties in all of FBS football. And Sam Pittman said that kept him up at night, those 13 penalties. You got to cut that out. They got better at it in the second half of the season last year. The third point brought up by the Arkansas coaching staff is dig into the depth chart. Here's the thing, and Pittman said this, there's a tendency because Cincinnati's in a non-Power 5 conference, even though we're in the playoff, that maybe they don't play a super physical brand of football. They do. That's why this week they practice hard, hit hard on purpose Monday and Tuesday, but then on Thursday, no pads, walk through, because they're going to have to rotate through that depth chart to keep up with Cincinnati. Hey, there's the man right there.
Look at that guy right there. That's a handsome somebody. I'll tell you what, that is Boss Hogg is in the house.
Son, look at there.
We'll chat with him in just a few minutes now.
What did Cincinnati tell you?
From the Cincinnati side, I chatted with Luke Fickell this week for quite some time, and here's what you need to know based on my conversation with Coach Fickell. Here's what I know. First, you said it, McGee. Cincinnati has to match Arkansas's physicality. This is the SEC West, and Arkansas is one of the most physical teams in the most physical division in college football. Fickell told me they did not match Alabama's physicality last year in the college football playoff, and the outcome and the impact was obvious. If they don't do it today, they have no shot. This game is going to be won in the trenches. Number two, born to run. Fickell told me Cincinnati has to be effective running the football. A lot of new players doing new things and learning new things in the competitive arena. So they have to control the line of scrimmage. When you have new players learning on the fly, the running game is the great equalizer and a great stabilizer. And this statistic blew my mind. Cincinnati returns 94 starts on the offensive line. Arkansas returns 99 starts on the offensive line. So some very seasoned players up front.
All right, stats.
The last thing, this is a pivotal point for the Cincinnati Bearcats. They had a transcendent year 1 year ago, but they lost a lot of talent. Quarterback Desmond Ritter is on the Atlanta Falcons now. They sent Sauce Gardner and Kobe Bryant to the NFL in the back end of that defense. They have to replace those guys, but they can't get caught up in what was. They have to focus on what is. And I love this quote. Great programs keep culture and beliefs, but adapt in order to grow. We lost those guys, but we can't get in the business of comparing what was to what is right now. This is an important test for us. We will not be defined by one game, but we have to continue to build on this cultural foundation. They had a tremendous year last year. They had great players. A lot of people aren't as optimistic about Cincinnati. Luke Fickell is, but they got to be physical today.
It's Marty McGee, presented by Old Trapper, live from Fayetteville, Arkansas. And
that drone, I'm telling you.
That drone, we got a drone.
Messing with me a little bit.
That's new. We got a drone flying around, and I got to be honest with you, it's
brand new.
Freaking me out a little.
We got a bunch of new toys, Coach, and we're old rednecks. We don't know how all that stuff works.
Yeah, but it's hey, everybody, Sam Pittman's here.
Give it up for that Boss Hogg.
Yeah.
Good morning, man. How we doing, baby?
I'm doing great, man.
It's back.
I'm doing great. Isn't it? It's crazy.
It's so great, man. And I said it at the top of the show. I love the authenticity and the passion of your fan base.
Yeah.
They love it. They live it. They're rooted in it. And you've done such a great job. You and I talked about this in your office yesterday. You've done such a tremendous job of immersing yourself in that and living it. And it has resonated throughout from border to border here.
Yeah. Well, I believe it, so it's kind of easy to do, But, I grew up 75 miles from here and been an Arkansas fan for a long time. Just, it's kind of easy to be an Arkansas fan.
It took such a long and winding road for you, though, to get to this place.
Yeah.
As somebody who grew up so close and knows that tradition so well.
Yeah.
How did that path and all of those stops make getting this particular position that much more special?
Well, it did. I mean, and things happen, when they're supposed to happen, but I don't know. When they called me that morning and said, you want to be the head coach at Arkansas, I'm like, let me think about it for a minute. I mean, a lot of people didn't understand. I don't think I was the first guy they offered the job. I know I wasn't. But they don't understand about Arkansas. They'd have took it if they did.
Their loss.
Yeah. Well, you and I were chatting right before we started here, and I said, "How you doing?" You're like, "I'm good," but there's a nervous energy, right, about game day. As long as you've been doing this, it's like the worst, best feeling in the world, isn't it?
It is exactly the worst feeling in the world. Getting up, you're going, "Oh Lord, here it comes again," and then it's the greatest feeling. I can't really describe it. It's almost like you want to throw up, but you want to go celebrate too at the same time.
Sounds like every day.
Some of these guys did that last night.
John Daly's going to be here later. I'm pretty sure that's every day for John
positive John Daly did that last night.
We were going to have John's son, of course, go to school here. We're going to have him too, but we learned that he had a couple too many last night.
Yeah, he's probably not going to make it out.
That's a shocker.
Go Hogs!
Yeah.
Go Hogs, baby.
hey, speaking of Go Hogs, so we did our preseason talking season specials that we do in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Man, nobody elicited a reaction like you did when we asked the question to every coach, what's your go-to fast food on the road? And your detailed, nuanced explanation of Long John Silver's.
Incredible.
People, they should put you on an NIL deal. But yeah.
Well, is Long John Silver still a...
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't been
In
for a
very
while.
small towns across the land, there are relic.
I know
Long
in
John
Rockingham,
Silver.
North Carolina, where I'm from, there's definitely one. Yeah,
Man,
and they're eating the gristle off the bottom of the container, right?
It's unbelievable. The combo is crazy good.
But the greatest quote of the entire talking season extravaganza was Popeye's chicken sandwich. Go Hogs. So one thing that, and you and I discussed this yesterday in your office. This is no longer a hunter program.
Yeah.
This is a hunted program.
Yeah.
You're not going to sneak up on anybody anymore. How does that change the psychology or the approach in the locker room and the way that you lead?
Well, I don't think it really does much. I think we do what we did the last 2 years, get a little bit better, maybe get a little bit bigger player, develop them a little bit better. But the goal inside the building of everybody reaching their top, however good they are, the expectations there to reach that height, and as long as they do that, I think the wins will come.
Just a few minutes ago, while you were getting suited up over there, getting mic'd up, I went over kind of the three main points that y'all had shared with me about the game going into it. The physicality of this game today, and the way y'all practiced this week. Right? You hit hard Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, you kind of walked around. You didn't want to use that word soft, right? Yeah, but how do you get ready for a game that Cincinnati is a physical football team?
Well, that's who we are, and that's who they are. I mean, Coach Fickle and his squad aren't going to change. I mean, that's who they are. That's what, to me, that's why they got to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, great offensive line, physical. They'll hit you on defense. Just they're really a lot of fun to watch on tape. I mean, because they play extremely hard. I hope we do too as well. So it's going to be a physical game. I would imagine they're going to try to establish the run, and I know we are. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Track pull.
I love it. I love the physicality. That's the SEC West, big dog. All right, before you get out of here, I need for you to sign our brand new. You're going to be the first person to sign the brand new Marty and McGee
the
helmet.
matte chocolate brown helmet over there.
Man,
Is that brown?
Yeah, I think so.
I had a suit that color, and I thought I looked pretty good, and I was the only one thought I
Look like a big old Hershey Kiss.
Yeah, but you're the first one. So we had the white helmet last year. We got the dark one this year.
Where are you thinking the first guy to sign this thing at?
Right there.
Yeah.
Right here.
Right there across the front.
There you go.
Right there across the front.
There you go.
So, one thing, as we said, one thing that we love so much about being here is the amazing passion of the fan base here.
It's incredible.
At the University of Arkansas. And we learned today that there is a very special family here with us today.
Okay.
That loves the University of Arkansas, that loves what Coach Pittman is building. It's a great unifier in their family. And they got here this morning at 2:30 a.m. 2:30 in the morning they got here so that they could be front and center to see Tim Tebow, to see Laura Rutledge and Roman Harper and Paul Feinbaum and Ryan McGee and Jordan Rogers. And they desperately so hoped that they might be able to attend today's game against the University of Cincinnati. And my friend, I have 3 tickets in my pocket.
How about that?
So that you guys can go see the game today. Thank you for your passion for this and for being here. We're so grateful for you guys for being here. What's your name? Kaylee? Nice to meet you. What's your name? Faith? Faith. Nice to meet you. Nate. Great to meet you guys. Cheers. Enjoy the game today. Appreciate you guys.
How about that? How about that,
More Marty McGee coming up next.
How about that, y'all? That's pretty amazing right there, huh?
Thank you, guys. We love you guys. And we've got Tusk right here. Timmy's feeding him. Is he liking it, Tim? He's feeding him the green grapes. It's really good. Paul, get in there. Where's Jordan?
Right here.
Oh, he's up there.
Just don't get fed to him, all right? I love it.
Roman, get in there.
I'm a little nervous, but I got
He's
it.
hungry. Oh, he loved it. Yeah. All right, give me one. Give me one.
I felt a little tooth. It's okay.
1, 2, 3. Oh, Paul, get out of there.
Remember, I kissed him last
Woo,
year.
my fingers are kind of stinky.
Paul.
All right.
You freaked out.
It's okay, Paul. Paul fumbled a grape. We got so much more coming your way on SEC Nation. We're so excited that college football is back. Let's get it started right now. Let's go. But now, the dawn of a new year in college football. You hear them out here. Woo pig. The Hogs are hungry with a chance to stomp their hooves on the college football landscape. A statement win over Cincinnati is possible. Tusk would love it. And the promise of wins. The possibilities are endless. The power of the unknown. We made it. Football is back, y'all. We're coming your way from the Old Main lawn. Old Main, the oldest building in campus. These fans have been out here for a long time this morning. In fact, I ran into some people earlier that have been here since 2:30 a.m.
Whoa, that's aggressive.
That's the time that Paul woke up as well. He was so excited for college football. Let's get to know the Arkansas Razorbacks. The Hogs won 9 games last season, their most in a season since 2011, finishing 21st in the AP poll. And Arkansas won a total of 7 games over the 3 previous seasons. The Razorbacks led the SEC with 228 rushing yards per game, finished with 200 passing yards and 200 rushing yards per game for the second time in program history. And KJ Jefferson accounted for 27 touchdowns, over 3,300 yards last season. He completed 58% of his passes, at least 15 yards downfield. That's good for second best in the FBS. And he did all that last year. He's got a little chip on his shoulder this year, which I think is really dangerous for anyone who's going to have to play him. He could be even better than he was then. Guys, we decided to start a little something new here on SEC Nation that we're really excited about this year. A great idea
What is it,
out
Laura?
of Jordan Rogers. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. But first, let's hear from KJ Jefferson with Jordan and Tim.
You ever played Jenga?
I haven't. I ain't never played.
Have you ever played Jenga?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played a couple of times.
It's going to be
definitely.
It's going to be competitive, but
Okay.
we kind of want to get to know you, so we got some questions on here. But the real reason we're playing Jenga is because look at you guys. I got to pick something that I got a chance of winning. I mean, like, so, here we go.
Cheat meal favorite.
Ooh, what is it? Ice cream?
Gotta be ice cream. Ice cream with brownies. Got to.
What's your cheat meal? You don't cheat. You don't. Do you look?
No.
When's the last time you had a soda?
Last time soda was 15.
15
years old. Soda.
Who is the best personality on the SEC Nation?
That's when you get to answer.
Yeah.
Right now.
I'm gonna go Tebow.
Give your best coach impression.
Oh, it had to be Coach Pittman. I mean,
Let's see
it's we transitioning, like offense running off, seconds over and on, and like we kind of like just like walking slow, it just blow the whistle. Hey, move your slow walking ass off the field. Then he'll call everybody up, and he just hollering, I'm gonna take it on in.
So you're actually.
Yep. Told you you weren't gonna get it.
I honestly thought I had that.
Told you weren't gonna get it.
KJ, that's what I'm talking about.
And you picked the game. You picked the game and you still lost.
Is water wet?
I say it's wet.
Womp. Of course, Jordan knocked the thing over there. But anyway, all right, so we want to do something really fun with our fans this year. Great idea by Jordan. Burning questions from the people who matter most, which are the actual fans. So we picked Chad and Kaylee out of the crowd, and we're going to let you guys ask us some questions. So, Chad, go ahead, single out who you're wanting to ask the burning question to, and we'll talk about it.
All right, so my question is for Tim.
Okay.
So, Tim, at SEC Media Days this year, you put out your list of top SEC quarterbacks.
And KJ wasn't on top.
Let him finish.
Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah, I got you.
One, why wasn't KJ on the list? And two, what does he have to do to get on Tim's list, but just the nation's list, and to get in the Heisman conversation?
Nothing. It has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with they have to have receivers that I trust enough. And right now they got some transfers, but they're question marks. KJ is good enough, but what I was also evaluating is all the positions around him. And if he has receivers that step up, like Landers steps up and a few of the other guys, then he can absolutely jump in that. But I was also evaluating everything else. I think he does enough with the way he runs, the way he throws the deep ball, and the way he's able to score in the red zone. That's amazing. But he has...
Jordan's over here giving tips.
He's trying to eat.
Yeah, he's putting a knife in your
Jordan
back.
does make a good point. Did you have Will Levis on there?
I did.
What about his receivers?
Yeah, they're all gone. They're also a question. They're all gone. It's an absolute question mark. There's no doubt.
Hey, what do you think, Roman, when you think about what KJ Jefferson can do to get himself more in this conversation?
At the end of the day, they got to win.
Yeah.
If you win the right games in the biggest moments, that's where Heismans are made. That's where you separate yourself from everybody else in the thing. And what you have to do is go on the road. You got to win next week versus South Carolina. You can't get ahead of Cincinnati, but you got to beat Cincinnati. You got to beat South Carolina. Yeah. When you win these games, all the eyeballs will come here to Arkansas, and we'll be right back to when Run DMC was out here running the block left and right. That's where everybody will come back. You got to win the game.
Yeah, it's interesting. We keep talking about the tough schedule, but yet if you do, it sounds like coach speak, take it one game at a time. You keep racking up those wins. It's what they did last year. Okay, you get another question. Go ahead, Kaylee. What you got?
My question is for Jordan.
Uh-oh.
I want to know what you think about the college football playoffs going to 12 teams and the Hawks' chances.
I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. I think in a way, in this day and age, bowl games, except for the main ones, really lost a little bit of their luster. So I love the fact that we're going to have a bunch of games come back to campus that mean something with national championship ramifications. And I love that we're opening it up to get teams that maybe got hot at the end of the year, right? Maybe in Oklahoma for a couple years ago when they beat Florida in the Cotton Bowl, they lost 2 out of their first 3 and then ran the table. That's a team that no one wanted to play at the end of the year. Now you have a playoff where they finally hit their stride, got their quarterback, and they have a chance.
Which we're going to get into all these things later on about how do you pick the non-6 conference winners? Is it best team? Is it all these same arguments? We're going to get into that.
But if you're the third best team in the SEC,
you're probably going to be in.
You're going to be in.
You're going to be in, right?
And I would say for Arkansas's favor, with their schedule, if they're able to have a 10-2 season, they will probably be in the top 12.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I got a question for everybody here because we're talking about all the top teams and who could be after Alabama and Georgia. I remember reading the AP poll a couple weeks ago, and does anybody remember who was like number 6 in the country?
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M?
You think that's too high, Paul? You think it's too high? Where would you have them?
They belong in the top 10 or the top 15.
Wow.
All right, that's aggressive.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way. Tim, did you have something?
I think they absolutely deserve to be in the top 15. I think their biggest question marks at quarterback.
Tim, you have
but
35 teams in your top 15.
And who are they, Paul?
Who doesn't?
We're out of time.
Yeah. They have so much talent. The question mark is how do they come together in the quarterback position. Yeah. But when you look at top to bottom in talent, they're absolutely in the top 3 in talent in the SEC.
Yeah.
Now the question is, can you have leaders? Can you have the quarterback position
position, which is an X factor in college football, and can those in the leadership step up to make it happen?
Tim, you got a question for our fans?
Yeah. Hey, what do you guys think about bumper pool? Do y'all think he's one of the best linebackers in the country? Well,
I would agree.
I definitely think he is. And it's not because he's really fast, and it's not because he's really gifted. The reason that I think he's one of the best is because he is absolutely a man on a mission. This dude started one game last year and could have gone pro, but he came back. Why? Because he wants to prove something to college football, that he is a man on a mission. And the one thing you hear from all the coaches and his teammates is he plays angry. This dude is on a different level. And if you're looking to find one of the best, most exciting players in college football, I'm telling you, look at Bumper Pool. He's not the fastest. He's not the most gifted, but he has a lot of heart. He has a mindset. He is angry, and that's a man on a mission.
I love it, Tim. We'll get to see Bumper out there for one more time for Arkansas this season. 2022 definitely seems like the year of the quarterback, Jordan. We're all excited about this. Sorry, Roman, but we'll get plenty of defensive guys in here, too. Give us your rankings heading into week 1. Let's start at number 5 with your top SEC
I'm going to preface this with saying from 2 to like 8, you can have an argument every single way. 5, I think, is one of the more underrated guys in the entire country, and that's Will Rogers. Here's the thing. A lot of times guys in the air raid system get lumped into a category. Like, oh, well, they just dink and dunk and throw around a lot, so he gets a lot of yards. No. Yes, that's part of it, but he is one of the more accurate passers downfield. He's got an it factor. He's got something to him that is so special. When the game gets hard in the fourth quarter, he becomes that much better. So he's much more than a system quarterback. And the numbers that he put up last year, there's only one other quarterback that has done that in the last 22 years. Any guesses? Joe Burrow.
Wow.
So
which numbers?
4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, interception ratio, those numbers. Only one other guy. So pretty good numbers, pretty good company.
Hit you, Tim.
Number 4, number 4, a guy that Tim left off his list.
Oh, Timmy.
I'm going KJ Jefferson. Yeah. And this was a tough one because I believe KJ could be anywhere from 2 to 4. I put him at 4 because I still think there is some consistency that he can improve upon, but he was the leading rusher, over 600 yards, and he was also one of the more accurate passers in the entire country, pushing the ball 25 plus downfield. And Tim, we talked to him yesterday. What's scary to me, he was 250 pounds last year. He's like, I'm about 237, 236. I feel
and he
faster.
Still looks 250.
I feel better.
And he still looks 250.
He is going to have a big year. If Jaden Hazelwood, Matt Landers, anybody can step up on the outside, it's big time. Number 3, this is another guy that I think is one of the top in the entire country. Saw him on Thursday night, Hendon Hooker. Again, talk about seasons that are special. This guy did something last year, over 31 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and only 2 other guys in the entire SEC have done in the last 25 years. He is as explosive as it comes in the entire country. He's as accurate and as efficient. I said it on the broadcast. Usually when you play quarterback, the rule is the more explosive you are, the less efficient you are. The more efficient you are, the less explosive you are. He's the exception. He's both. He's unbelievable. Number 2. You guys sitting down? You all right?
I'm sitting down.
Number 2.
This is where we disagree.
Spencer Rattler.
Wow.
This is where we disagree.
The hate for Spencer Rattler is so unfounded when you flip on the tape.
There's no doubt about that.
The dude is not just talented. I'm not even talking about the talent, the production, the decision making. Are there a few bad habits? Yes, but the dude has won his last 14 starts. He completed 75% of his passes last year for his career. He's completed 70% of his passes, and he did it in the shadow of a Heisman winner in Baker Mayfield, Heisman winner in Kyler Murray, a Jalen Hurts. He's got nobody behind him, breathing over his neck, behind his ear, like Caleb Williams was last year. And one, pretty obvious, right? The Heisman winner from last year, Bryce Young. He is one of the best quarterbacks I have ever evaluated on film. Does he have the biggest arm? No. Is he the biggest dude? Absolutely not. Decision-making and accuracy is where the quarterback position is won and lost. That's why a guy like Drew Brees can be a Hall of Famer in the NFL, and so can a guy like Dan Marino, who is one of the more gifted we've ever seen, because it comes down to, do you consistently make the right decisions? And are you consistently accurate? He is both. His leadership is going to take it to a next level this year as well. What do you guys think?
Tim, what do you think?
Listen, I agree with you. From 2 to 8, it is super hard.
Super hard.
You know, that's why I'm not going to give you a hard time because honestly, it is so hard to adjust. And I agree. I think KJ could literally be number 2, and some people could put him at number 8. I do think there is an argument for Anthony Richardson's, Will Levis, and Stetson Bennett. If you want to look at how you played in big games, Stetson Bennett has to be up there. He's got 85 QBR in big games. That's really good. If you look at talent, you have to look at Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. You know, arguably you would say with Bryce Young, they're the 2 most talented guys up there. So it just depends on how you evaluate. If you evaluate talent, if you evaluate on this year in their system, in their offense, you know, if you evaluate, you know, there's so many different ways to evaluate quarterbacks. So if I evaluate on talent, I have to put AR up there and I have to put Will Levis up there.
Hey, Roman, I got a question. I mean, I've never heard more disrespect for a couple of guys in my life. Can you bail the free world out with these 2 quarterbacks?
I will. Number 1, I think Hendon Hooker's the second best quarterback. I would move Spencer back. I would take Spencer probably out of it right now. Based upon what I saw, I think he has bad habits that he must get cleaned up. We talked about that yesterday, Jordan. He does have huge upside, but he has bad habits he must get cleaned up. Hendon Hooker's one of the cleanest quarterbacks. I would keep KJ at 3rd. I love Will Rogers because he's the best quarterback at moving defenses with his eyes in the country. He plays against more zone defense, and nobody moves his defenders more than Will Rogers. And after that, I would probably put Will Levis at the end of it.
Briefly, just because I'm going to hear it on social media, Stetson would have been 6 for me. And the reason, like Tim hit on, you can go talent, you can go production, you can go projection. All of them. He only averaged 10 completions in the regular season per game because he didn't have to. He earned every ounce of respect for me for what he did in the playoffs, national championship. So in one way, he could be up there. I just looked at projection and what the team needs you to do.
You're drafting.
You getting a call, Paul?
You are getting right now for college football.
Right now. I know. It's all,
not even loading anything up.
Laura, Coach Sam Pittman is waiting to see what Cincinnati's bringing to this party, iced tea or liquor. In other words, he told me, will they come out blitzing or do the everyday stuff they're more comfortable with? Either way, he said it won't take long to find out once the game starts. That's also when they'll find out if it will be Ben Bryant or Evan Prater starting at quarterback for the Bearcats. They are prepared to see both in this game. So what should the Bearcats expect? Well, I asked Pittman what will the host have on hand at this party. He said we may spike the iced tea. It won't be moonshine, but it will be something.
As it pertains to today, a team that broke through in the current format and made the college football playoff last year, Cincinnati. They opened on the road at Arkansas, and you've got news of their quarterback decision.
Yeah, fascinating game in Fayetteville today. Ben Bryant, a fifth-year senior, will start for Cincinnati. He transferred from Cincinnati to Eastern Michigan, threw for more than 3,000 yards last year. Now he's back with the Bearcats. He'll be the starter today. Look for the Bearcats to go a little more 12 personnel. He doesn't bring the running element Desmond Ridder does, so it'll be a new-look Bearcat, Luke Fickell-like ground and pound, and they're going to have to go grind it out against a really good Arkansas team.
You know, in many ways, it almost feels as if they sent Bryant to AAA to get some seasoning, get some starts, and then brought him back to be the starter. There's another game involving an SEC team really going to be challenged at home. It is Arkansas and Cincinnati. Cincinnati, after losing all of those guys on defense, the 2 corners in Sauce Gardner and Kobe Bryant. But I tell you what, everybody's going on the road dressed for success. Bearcats ready to go in. KJ Jefferson and the Hogs ready to build on that 9-win season from a year ago. KJ got his mani-pedi on Thursdays, as he always does. He likes the clear nail polish, the way it makes the football, or sparkles against the football. When the game comes, now will he sparkle against this Bearcat defense?
Let's get to it, Tate. Not manis and petties. Let's get to the football, Tate. This dude is a grown man, by the way, okay? Just to let you know. He's 6'3", 240 pounds, big, strong sucker. Had a great
And his cuticles are marvelous.
That's phenomenal. It's built around his manhood, okay? His big, strong. Look at this, dude. 3 guys in position to make a play. That's an athlete. Stick your foot in the ground to be that big, make people miss, dynamic. One thing he did really good a year ago was throw the deep ball. Now listen, Traylon Brooks has gone to the NFL in the first-round pick. Hazelwood, I think, needs to be this guy. You got to step up and play the run game with him. You got to account for his hat in the running game. And you get a lot of chances deep. This is what he did best a year ago. If he improves this, Kirk, if he gets better in the intermediate passing, and when I say that, let this thing develop and throw this into the second window. You watch right here. This is something, if he just waits and is a little bit more patient, look out wide a little bit, open that second window, hit him in the chest where you can run after the catch and make plays. If he improves this, Arkansas is going to be very much in the hunt in the SEC West, and they're going to be dynamic on offense. That's where he struggles a little bit. No doubt about his athletic ability. Love his deep ball. Des, if he can continue to improve in that area, I think KJ Jefferson could be a handful for everyone.
And I think he will. I mean, I expect him to take the leap from last season to this season. He's going to be like a Cam Newton type of quarterback. I mean, he's big and strong. KJ Jefferson has a better understanding of the offense now, and I think with Hazelwood, the wideout, the transfer from Oklahoma, he's going to be his go-to guy. So this may be a big win for the Razorbacks over the Bearcats.
See, I'm betting on Luke Fickell's culture. You know, they're almost a forgotten team. The perception almost is like that was a cute story for 1 year, but they're gone. And they were good the year before. They were obviously good last year, and they're going to be good this year because of the way Luke Fickell coaches. So, yeah, they lost a lot of players led by Desmond Ridder, lost a lot of great defensive players, especially on the back end. So you have a young secondary. But David just showed you a lot of KJ Jefferson. I kept seeing 16 show up on the outside. Treylon Burks, he's now in Nashville playing for the Titans. So who's Arkansas going to develop on the outside to try to attack this young secondary? So don't sleep on the physicality of Luke Fickell with a veteran offensive line that, like we keep talking about, run the ball, be conservative, just don't lose the game on the road.
I think they're having a great season, but they're going to have a
hands full
big
today.
struggle today.
Yeah. Okay.
I wish this game was last year, though.
Yeah.
There are those, great matchup. There are those in the Arkansas program who said, did you see that playoff game? Yeah. We're an SEC West team, too, just like Alabama. I think Arkansas thinks they can pound them.
I think this is what Lee Corso says. Roll up your sleeves, see who the tougher guy is kind of game.
It's a demolition derby. If you like people running into each other at high rates of speed and bad intentions, that's your game. Even for a guy who has spectacular nails, he'll run into people.
So we said earlier during Martin McGee, we feel like John Daly kind of fits our demographic. And you know what else fits our demographic is what we brought him in for. John, why don't you start us with the Hillbilly headlines?
Well, I'm not going to lie, I'm drunk.
Is that my fault?
No, I had a few before that. This is unbelievable, man. Yeah. You know, when a cop pulled me over, he said, "You've been drinking a little." One time I said, "No, I've been drinking a lot." But listen to this. Honest Florida man pulled over for speeding tells cops on himself.
Yeah.
An honest Florida man pulled over by police for speeding made the deputy's job so easy Sunday when he confessed he was driving drunk. The man, identified as Joseph Beck, 27, was pulled over around 2:22 a.m. for alleged speeding and driving recklessly after he nearly hit a barrier in the middle of the road, according to an arrest report by Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. The officer said, well, they paced him at 47 miles per hour to 35. And WFLA reported, however, when deputies approached Beck, he said to have spontaneously told him, "I'm not going to lie to you, I'm drunk." The driver subsequently underwent sobriety tests, which gave away obvious signs of intoxication, such as an unsteady balance, glassy eyes, and overall poor performance.
That was a phenomenal performance. Yeah. I mean, they gave JD big words like spontaneously.
Oh, yeah, it was amazing.
And subsequently.
Yeah, not going to lie.
We're continuing our Coors Light Saturday selections with the Demolition Derby that will be Cincinnati and Arkansas, 3:30 on ESPN. Yeah, watch out for KJ Jefferson, Arkansas's quarterback, another dual threat quarterback, a big guy. I think he's gotten better at throwing the ball. Probably won't run it as much. So I got Arkansas over Cincy.
Cincy, Arkansas, huh? I used to talk to this girl from Cincinnati. I liked her a lot. Cincy.
That does it for me, boy. Not so fast, my friend. Arkansas is too strong for Cincinnati. Roll up his sleeves and bang him. That's Arkansas.
Wow, this is kind of a throwback game, right?
Yeah.
That was bad. The friend and then that line is just a mess. This whole thing's a mess.
Just make your pick.
I'm going with Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, really?
Cincinnati.
No.
Wow.
Are you serious?
You just heard me trying to explain what's going on here because we got a really exciting pick as we're going to decide who's going to win this game between Arkansas and Cincinnati. We begin with Roman, but we need some golf clubs. We got John Daly up here, the legend here at Arkansas. We're going to get your son, John Daly II, who's on the Arkansas golf team, to bring us up some.
I got to loosen up.
Come on.
There we go.
All right, and let me explain this to you guys while these guys are getting loose. So we've got some golf balls that are black for Cincinnati, red for Arkansas. As they make their pick,
They even got a
you're
lefty
going to
up
find
here.
out
They even got a lefty.
lefty for Timmy. You're going to find out who they picked that way. So Roman, you want to get it started here? You're going to hit into this net, and then we'll get you to analyze their golf swing too, because these guys claim they're really good golfers.
Jordan,
I don't know what happened to your other pants, but
well, I knew I was going to be bombing 1-300. So
loudmouth pants on Jordan there. All right, come on, Roman. What do we got? What are we going with?
All right, I need a club.
Yeah, give him a club. There we
Y'all need a
go.
lefty. Y'all
Come
need a
on.
lefty.
Roman,
All right.
you lefty too, huh?
I am, and
All right.
this is probably not enough, but it's whatever, and you'll just know what team I'm feeling.
Okay.
Once I hit this club, hopefully I just make decent contact. Whoa.
There you go.
All right, he went with the hogs.
Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Jordan.
Let me show you how to
That's
do
too
this.
good right there. That was pretty good.
Pretty good swing,
there
right?
we go.
Hey,
got
John,
JD to
I was watching the
give me some
highlights. I
love.
noticed how you get it way back
Wow.
here. So I don't know if I have the flexibility, but
You got the pants.
You know what I
you
love?
know who I'm picking. Come on now.
Oh, watch out, people. You just hit.
Almost broke his arm, too.
We're going to need a new
We good?
mannequin.
We
All right.
They're all backing up.
Hey.
Arkansas.
Paul, okay, so we got 2 picks for Arkansas. Paul has a great golf swing. I don't know if you guys are going to be ready for it. So let's get Tim first. Get in there, Tim.
What do you think about this guy?
Here,
You think he
here,
can swing a golf club?
Oh, well,
Well, I
Tim needs
tell
the
you
ball.
what, if he can't, something's wrong with him because he's a big old boy.
He gets a hold of it, it's going somewhere.
You
Tim,
know what
I
love
hope
about
you
the-
whiff.
You know what I
Oh,
love about
sorry.
these loudmouth clothes? You get dressed in the dark
Guys,
with them and match.
Let's just be honest about something. I might be wearing Cincinnati's colors, but Arkansas is about to win this game. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
There we go.
John, how was the swing?
I'm admired in his forearms right now. I mean,
Hold on to that.
That's actually my bicep, but it's cool.
You're also
How much
going
time
to
we
admire Paul's biceps, too. Go ahead, Paul.
here, John.
Cincinnati or Arkansas?
Hold on a second. I don't play golf,
Oh, no.
nor am I drunk.
Oh.
So I want to watch a guy who is drunk that's a 2-major champion. So it's either the black ball or the white ball. Remember last year I had that Texas helmet? They won't let me do that anymore.
Come on.
So I'm going to put the black ball, which is Cincinnati, down here for John to hit.
Oh.
Yeah, let's go.
Go for it, John. Arkansas wins.
I got it.
Get it on there. There we go, John.
Let's go.
That's week 1 of SEC Nation. We send you to Dave, Neal, and Deuce McAllister in College Station. We'll see you next
season for the Bearcats and the Razorbacks is underway, and the opening kickoff will be a touchback. A monster season. Rocket Sanders in the backfield. It's a play fake, and the first pass of the year is complete out across the 30. So he'll go from the shotgun. Trey Tucker, super fast. They do have a lot of speed, Cincinnati does, and the first pass completion is for a short gain.
Offensive line, a little bit of reshuffling, but they believe in being physical.
A different Montgomery, Miles Montgomery in the game, and he was just swallowed by Bumper Pool, one of the top tacklers returning. That was a nice positive first down gain. It's 2nd and 3. And they'll pitch the ball to the right side. That one's going backwards. Bumper Pool slashes in there again. Fun matchup. Dave Fleming, Ron Gilmore, Tiffany Blackman. Great to have you with us. Cincinnati, first possession of the year. Bryant's pass is picked off. The interception. Dwight McGlothern. All the way back inside the 30. Oh, Ben Bryant, the new starter.
Really confident, and you got to have a lot of arm strength to make this. Watch his throw. He's on the hash to the far out. If you're going to make that throw, you got to have a cannon, and that ball's got to be to the outside. That ball fluttered out there, and there was no question about what McLaughlin was doing with it. He read it all the way. That is a dangerous throw, and if you don't have what it takes to make it, man, you can't make that throw. Wiping out a tremendous opening drive for Cincinnati.
Still plenty of time on the play clock. They get the play snap. Jefferson a play fake. And a wide open target. Matt Landers, his second catch. Down the sideline, inside the 20. A mouthpiece, not a penalty flag. Down on the turf. Jefferson keeps. Jefferson, 10, 5, touchdown. They say he's a little faster this year.
Yeah. A little lighter. Played at 247 last season. 235 right now. Jalen Catalon, the safety, he found out how quick, and watch it. One-on-one tackle, chance to make the play, another missed tackle. Jefferson did not try to run him over.
Week 1 after being a playoff team and only losing 2 games the last 2 years.
Ryan Montgomery with the carry. Playing for Cincinnati, Corey Kiner is in the backfield for the Bearcats on second down. Kiner gets the ball and runs into a wall. And Terry Hampton was there to just envelop him.
We've seen Terry Hampton since last season, and they are hard to block inside. He is 314 pounds and just dominates.
Charles McClellan now in at tailback. Bryant will fake it to McClellan, throws short, and Wiley gets upended immediately. Arkansas saw that thing coming. Since the start of 2021, start of last year, 9 of 20. KJ Jefferson out into the open field, and he will not just go into a slide. KJ Jefferson in the game, and we've seen that already. Cincinnati has moved the ball, but it's been the Razorbacks who have capitalized on their opportunity. The pick, the return, and then the Jefferson touchdown. End of quarter number 1, 7-0 Razorbacks. So now Miles Montgomery in the backfield on second down. Montgomery gets it, and he finds a way to get a couple yards. Good effort. Landon Jackson, the LSU. Well, whoever is faulted is the equipment guy's going to get yelled at. Sanders off and running outside the 25, and he gets 3rd and 4. He's a regular. Handoff straight ahead. First down, Arkansas. A.J. Green gets his first carry.
And they're both dual quarterbacks.
Well, they used the second quarterback, Malik Hornsby, that time into the backfield. It's been a reasonably slow start for this Arkansas offense. They think they're going to put up big numbers this year. That pass deflected in the air and almost intercepted. McGlothern, another good play on the ball. All right, so that's good news. In the pocket, Bryant's going down. He had time and nowhere to go with the ball. Drew Sanders gets his first Arkansas sack. The Alabama transfer, brother of Deshaun Pace, who transferred to play with his brother after being the MAC Defensive Player of the Year last year. He's had a nice first half. Jefferson created some time, and found the room to complete that one. Miles Montgomery in the game now, 2nd and 6. Bearcats on the move. Bryant, play fake, throws it short, and the big hit in the open field. The catch by the tight end Leonard Taylor, but then Miles Slusher. So 2nd down, Bryant in the pocket, plenty of time, still looking, throws across the middle into coverage, knocked away, incomplete. 2nd and 10. Jefferson will run right side. KJ Jefferson gets across the 35. Clock will keep moving. It'll be 3rd down, gain of 7.
On deep throws.
3rd down, Jefferson across the middle, complete. That's an Arkansas 1st down out to midfield, Warren Thompson. 2nd and 10. Jefferson hands the ball off. Rocket Sanders. Sanders will not get there, so the clock rolls. Not force Cam Little to kick a really long field goal. Handoff. Sanders going sideways. He'll turn the corner, though. 1st down and more inside the 30, inside the 20, inside the 10. Finally knocked out of bounds. He's 7 yards for Rocket Sanders. Huge play.
He had tremendous block. And then the speed on the edge. You saw threats. He was the guy out there for contain, but Sanders gave him a little hip and then showed the speed to the outside. And defensively, and you see that they're checking on him, but they also remind him, look, he
already has 1 rushing touchdown today. He's going to keep it. No, he's going to jump past it, and Knox catches it. Touchdown.
Better at the moment. Watch this. You get tight end slipping in there, and you got a guy in position, but the ball is put in the right spot towards the back of the end zone, and he's 6'5", and Trey Knox goes up and gets it. It's a great catch.
Yeah, Deshaun Pace saw what was coming.
Yeah,
he got a hand in there.
No, Pace did a nice job, but he's 6'1.5".
2 top 25 teams, 2 really good physical teams. The Razorbacks of Arkansas have a 14-0 lead, and the end of the first half was big for the Hogs. So before we start, how about our Papa John's game track? These numbers, they look pretty even. They were even more even before that last-minute 70-yard drive for Arkansas.
Yeah, that's not what you see here. The impact of that last drive right before the half, where Arkansas picked up a lot of yards and they got the touchdown. That 2-minute drill was fantastic.
Catalan preseason All-American was hurt midway through last year and missed a good chunk of the year. Here's a deep pass down the right sideline, and again incomplete, and again in a spot where this is where the Bearcats just have not been able to convert. Handoff, no, a fake. Bryant's going to try to run, and that's not his game. He cut it back middle, and they made it a 1-touchdown ball game.
And all the stuff you talked about at halftime came true, and Cincinnati is right back in it.
This one to start the year. They are so excited for this season here in Fayetteville. So the Bearcats have a chance to get a quick stop here. The pass across the middle. I think he's poised to have a big year. Converted wide receiver. He's gotten bigger and stronger. And another misdirection play. Great ball handling by Jefferson, and then the broken tackle along the sideline to cut inside. Still running inside the 40. That's the freshman. Now they have so many good ball carriers on this team. We'll see how much action Dubinion can get. I think that's a backwards pass. Hornsby, the backup quarterback, is going to take off. And he's also a track star. He got away from a couple would-be tacklers and Jefferson in the pocket. Pressure comes. He throws, and it's caught. What a catch! And a collision at the goal line. Touchdown. Jaden Hazelwood, his first Arkansas touchdown.
He knows that Jaden Hazelwood at 6'3", 215 can jump and come back and get the ball. He leaves it short to give him a chance. Again,
and I think those two are going to hook up a few times this year.
They told him, if you come here, we're going to make beautiful music. We'll make touchdowns. And promise kept opening week.
Here in this game, 6:44 to go, third quarter. KJ Jefferson, the ball's on the ground. He and his running back collided. The ball's loose. Bearcats think they have it. No signal yet. And it's Cincinnati ball.
Wow.
tying this game.
Oh, heavy formation. 3 tight ends.
They'll pitch it. A penalty flag, though. And that one, if that's against the Bearcats, that's huge. It is. That's going to be a false start.
Yeah, you can't have that.
Offense, number 11. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
Gives Arkansas some hope, trying to get a stop. Bryant handoff, another flag thrown, and Kiners wrestled to the ground quickly.
I think another false start. Yeah.
Wow.
Listen, I don't think this was crowd noise. It wasn't that loud down there as far as I could tell.
Especially not for the first one.
Formation, offense, more than 4 players in the backfield at the snap. 5-yard penalty.
So that's just a bad formation.
Yeah.
Another flag, and this time they took too much time.
Wow.
Play of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Luke Fickell told us that he felt like he hadn't prepared his team for the playoff game in that environment, and that they would do a better job of it this week. And they have, for the most part, except for this critical situation. They've been a little bit undisciplined down here, and now the crowd is into it.
I would say they are. Bryant throws short, and it's caught, but the tackle at the 15. Pressure picked up. Bryant zings one in there, and they get back to where they started. I mean, it was a nice pass.
I get it. Ordinarily, I'd say, you know what, kick your field goal. Plenty of time left in the game. But when you have no confidence in your kicking team, might as well go for it.
Play clock down under 5, down under 2, and they didn't get the play off. I don't think they did.
No. Officials agree with you.
Play of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains fourth down.
You want to give the fans an assist on that one?
I will give them a big assist. He's missed 2 field goals already. This kick is up, and that one's not missed. It's perfect right up and through. So, for the Bearcats, after all of that, they did get 3 points out of it. Nasty. Good luck, Yellow Jackets, in that one on Monday. Play fake and a little dump pass to Trey Knox, the tight end, who can move across the 35. Jefferson in the pocket, throws over the top, and it is incomplete, but 2 different penalty flags thrown. Trying to hit the running back Sanders out of the backfield. Deshaun Pace, Javon Hicks both were there.
Defense number 20.
They'll call Pace.
15-yard penalties enforced from the previous spot and includes an automatic first down.
Yeah, you see the left hand grabs the shoulder pad, pulls it. It's impeding the receiver.
KJ Jefferson's face just enough for Cincinnati there. Jefferson steps forward like he was going to run, then was going to try to pass, then decides, nope, I want to do that. Inside the 35, down to the 32.
And he has a chance to have a special season.
He'll hand it off. Sanders squirts through. Sanders inside the 15, down to the 13.
He was suffering cramps, and he missed badly on that throw.
So Cam Little's field goal try is up. And from 32 yards out, it is good. So 1st and 10 outside their own 40. Bryant takes a monster hit. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he did.
The pass is incomplete. He got up. That was Eric Gregory.
All 303 pounds of Gregory. Just watch the hit here and full body on him. Oh. That hurts, and he's going to feel that tomorrow. A chance.
And it is a big play. I think on that one, if you hit him in stride, he's going to the end zone. Bryant now is going to the turf, and his helmet flies off.
he showed you the kind of quarterback he can be.
Yeah, we had a lot of action. Cincinnati got the ball first out of the locker room. Corey Kiner with the first touchdown. The quick answer, what a delivery from Jefferson to Hazelwood. And Cincinnati came back, and Arkansas field goal finished off the scoring. It's 24-17.
A win here would really keep the momentum going for them.
I mean, they played the hardest schedule in college football last year and won 9 games anyway. So there's a reason they are picked to be a contending team. 3rd and 29. Arkansas back at their own 2. Jefferson pressured by Pace. Gets away. He's going to throw middle, and it is caught. Now well short of a first down, but that at least is a little cushioned. And a lot of buzz about his performance in fall camp. Handoff and tackled from behind.
Inside. Watch him on the edge there as he comes down inside quickly, chasing this thing down.
Really have a classic pass rusher on this Arkansas team. They got a bunch of those guys who can bounce in and out, and a big hit on the quarterback. The ball's out. Razorbacks scoop it up. Jordan Dominic comes away with the ball. And I think he's a guy who jarred it loose too.
I don't think there's any doubt. Ben Bryant's hand was not coming forward. That's a fumble. Not an incomplete pass. That's a fumble. You see it here. That hand never starts forward. Big hit. Great job. Dominic puts him in perfect position.
The call was reviewed, and it stands. Hazelwood gets the pitch, and Hazelwood with that blazing speed into Cincinnati territory. What a...
Yeah, the sack strip was huge.
What a play by Jordan Dominic. KJ Jefferson to the tight end Knox, who got a block. Down the sideline, touchdown.
Great job by Jefferson being patient, not forcing the ball down the field. And there you see just a little check down, a little late release outside by Trey Knox, and then gets a tremendous block on the edge. And that's all we needed. Great speed. Safety couldn't come over and help.
That's where Ketron Jackson should get some credit. You don't have to pancake the guy, just get in the way.
Get in the way.
What a big play for Sam Pittman's team. Good stuff going on here week 1. This game coming down to the wire, and a 3rd and 9 play. Jefferson steps up, going to try to run for it. KJ Jefferson breaks a tackle, and he'll get the first down. What a big play that is.
Yeah, well, he talked about it yesterday. He knows the moment. He knows when he needs to take over. And that was a drop back pass, but he knew and trusted himself to go get that first down and keep the clock moving.
Now that's huge. Cincinnati was staring at getting the ball back with plenty of time. Now Arkansas can let that clock roll.
Bring everybody, except your corners.
They do have their 2 timeouts. Jefferson straight ahead. No nuance, no surprise. Just power football and an Arkansas first down. Arkansas can't take it all the way down, but they could come pretty close. This is the freshman, Dubinion, and a nice cut. Dubinion is going to get an Arkansas first down.
Coming off, the result of the play is a first down.
What, 7, 8, 9 guys?
I think more.
Lost a helmet today.
He's going to run forward and bounce around. Got to stay inbounds. And he'll get tackled. Now some pushing and shoving at the end of the game. You don't want that. You'll be shocked to know that another Cincinnati helmet flew off.
Gosh. What's the over-under? A dozen?
I literally think it's over that. I do. But Arkansas does not have to snap the ball again. They stopped the clock because of all the stuff after the play.
Had another good matchup, ranked on ranked. Luke Fickell's Bearcats, CFP last season. They lost some talent to the NFL. They had to go to Fayetteville, get Woo Pig. their season opener. KJ Jefferson looked a little trimmer this year, 15-yard touchdown.
Trimmer at 6'3", 240, and a heck of an athlete.
It's a virtual lock for me. I had Woo Pig -6.5. Could they come through? Arkansas 14-7. 3 defenders. What a catch by Hazelwood.
They lost Treylon Burks to the league. They need someone to step up, so the OU transfer, Jaden Hazelwood, making a play.
Guys, 21-7. It looked like they were going to run away with it, but here comes Ben Bryant, the new starting quarterback. Nick Mardner, the touchdown. Cincinnati within a score.
Bryant struggled early in this game, going downfield, missed a number of deep throws. In the second half, settled in and started to complete some of these balls down the field.
Now 24-17. Woo Pig's defense comes up, forces the fumble. Razorbacks gain possession in plus territory, and there's Jefferson to Trey Knox.
Trey Knox is going to be a weapon. He's 6'6", played receiver last year. They moved him to tight end this year. He made some plays in this one. This was an extremely physical game.
I'm going to tell you what, Cincinnati's going to look back at this and say, we made enough plays to win this game. Bryant struggled early. You said he came on late. 31-24. The virtual lock implications now in play, but then Jefferson at Arkansas does a good job shutting it down.
Yeah, this is putting the game away right here. Swing it out wide, get a first down, move the chains. This is the game. There's nothing Cincinnati can do about it.
Some would say it put it on ice, 31-24. Well, Sam Pittman, what about you and that beard?
How about Arkansas? This is another team a lot of people feel could be a surprise in the SEC. We know what Sam Pittman has built in a short amount of time. Luke Fickell and his Cincinnati team, which reached the playoff a year ago with a lot of new faces, though, this time. Ben Bryant, the starting quarterback. Desmond Ridder, of course, now a Falcon. And Bryant with an errant pass there. Dwight McGlothern picks it off in Arkansas with the football.
It is not like an interception to get things going, huh?
Yeah,
gets everybody excited.
Could they pay it off, right? We saw Anthony Richardson with a big-time performance on the ground and in the air. KJ Jefferson had one as well for the Razorbacks.
When I look at him play, he's right on time with every quarterback read when it comes to the RPOs.
And then the old Tebow.
You know, how many times our defense is going to fall for this play?
But what are you supposed to do? You got a 230.
And I told you, we panic when we get inside of the red zone. Like that DVD just right there.
There's Jaden Hazelwood, the Oklahoma transfer. They got to find guys to replace Treylon Burks, right? That's a big-time loss there. And then Bryant with a big touchdown pass, 36 yards. It's a 7-point Hogs lead after giving up nothing in the first half. And then Bryant just hammered by Jordan Dominic. Sack, fumble recovery, Razorback ball. Two plays later. How about the game by Trey Knox? 6 catches, 75 yards, couple of scores.
We talked about Trey Knox in the pregame show. Will there be a Trey Knox sighting? Yes, 2 touchdowns today.
Indeed. Cincinnati, though, not going anywhere. They're too good to go somewhere. 3rd and 9. Bryant to Leonard Taylor. Touchdown. Back to a one-possession football game.
Yeah, this is another one of those games, much like we talked about in the Florida game, a very solid opponent coming in, one that's confident, one that's accomplished. Arkansas withstood the test.
And Jefferson, a big reason. 62 yards on the ground, 223 through the air
touchdown
for Sam Pittman's team.
We knew it was going to be a really physical game, and they knocked the heck out of us. What a good football team. What a great coach they are. Our defense made some key stops, you know, on the day, and our offense, obviously, that last drive right there, never giving it back, that was huge for us. But we got a lot of work to do, but I'd rather do that on winning than I would losing.
Coach, I asked you what the host of this party was going to be serving up today. What's the drink of choice tonight?
Well, you know, I'm not promoting it, but I like some old cold beer. I think I'm going to have one. I'm not promoting it now.
Got to be careful. Not promoting it. They also, by the way, have a conference game next week. South Carolina comes to town. It's their first win in a season opener against an AP-ranked team since 1974. That is 48 years. How much are you buying Arkansas, and what did today's performance do for your opinion of the Razorbacks?
If I'm a kid, I'm asking my mom and dad for an allowance, and I'm buying everything that Arkansas is selling. Sam Pittman is amazing, and I think he's so genuine in his message, not only to his players, but to the media as well. And that's contagious throughout their locker room, and for me, a direct result of how they won this football game today. We talk about complementary football, and exactly what is that? They got 2 turnovers on the defensive side. Immediately after they got the 2 turnovers, what did the offense do? Go right down and score. So that goes to show you the buy-in, Ben, what you always talk about, that they believe in one another. And look, offensively, if they think they get a turnover, once they get a turnover from the defense, they feel like we got to score.
And they scored in the red zone. They were 4-4 in the red zone. So replacing Treylon Burks, I think, was the question. And we talked about it ad nauseum, I think. Coach Sam Pittman talked about it. Who was going to replace Treylon Burks? So you get a transfer. You go in the portal like everybody else is going in the portal. You go get Jordan Hazelwood. We mentioned Trey Knox stepping up. If KJ Jefferson can have that receiver or group of receivers that he can truly trust like he did with Treylon Burks, I think there's problems down there in Arkansas.
Yeah, for anybody they're playing.
Exactly. Their offense is formidable. And then defensively, one of your favorite players, Bumper Poole, has 13 tackles. There is a question, I think, about Catalog.
Jalen Catalog.
Which I think we need to wait and see what happens with that. But defensively, they're right there as well.
He missed the last half of the year with a shoulder injury last year, and what appeared to be some sort of a shoulder issue.
That's what it looked like.
This game here did not finish the game. We'll keep an eye on what's going on with him. Again, South Carolina comes a call into Fayetteville next week.